We're following big developments out of the state of Minnesota, a huge one actually, in the high-profile murder case involving two minors and an adult suspected of killing Zaria McKeever, a 23-year-old mother and her one-year-old baby. The Attorney General Keith Ellison is taking this case as of just about an hour and a half ago, and how it got to this point is painful and a little political, because it means, in essence, Ellison is taking this case away from the elected county attorney, Mary Moriarty, who didn't want to give it up. Lou Raguse has been following this from the beginning, and he's here to talk about what this means. Lou, let's perhaps start with a little background on what happened to Zaria and how we get to today.
Okay, so Zaria was killed in November when allegedly the two teens kicked in her door and the 15-year-old shot her to death 5 times at close range, while her ex-boyfriend was waiting outside in a car, allegedly having given the gun to the teens and sent them inside. The teens were charged in juvenile court with murder. The adult, Eric Haynes, was charged in adult court with murder, basically with the intention that Mike Freeman's office at that time was going to certify those two teens as adults and try them all together.
Okay, so then Mary Moriarty gets elected, and she reverses what Freeman decided when it comes to the teenagers, right?
She offers them a plea deal to essentially do 2 years in the Red Wing juvenile prison with the agreement that they will testify against Haynes, and they have an adult prison term held over their head if they reoffend in between the time they're released and the time they turn 21 years old.
And that's what lands her in hot water with the family. And then we have what's been going on that leads to today, right? Ellison, we think, wants the case. He asks her for the case. She says no. And then does he go to the governor? As of tonight, he gets the case. The governor said he assigned it to him. Mary Moriarty is furious.
Yes.
They're all in the same party last time I checked.
And it's a huge political blow to Moriarty, because this was a key tenet of her platform: juvenile reform, prosecution of juveniles, reforming how they do it. She believes that they're following the science in how they do that. And now Keith Ellison disagrees wholeheartedly on this particular case and takes it away from her. The governor has the authority under law to do that. And so Ellison had to ask Walz to write a letter, in essence, giving him permission to take the case.
Each of them, especially the governor and Ellison, in their statements allude to the fact that this is rare and it wasn't something that they were excited about. Keith Ellison said, "I do not expect to make a request like this again," and it's not one he made lightly. He's saying he's not going to do it again. So why this case?
Well, he's going to get a lot of requests to do it again, and I think that was the big worry from county attorneys across the state. This case in particular, because the family so much wanted him to, and he agreed with them. Now, he characterized what happened different than how Moriarty characterizes it. He points out that the 15-year-old knew the victim, Zaria. He knew her 1-year-old daughter, had lots of time to think about it and change his mind, but still went through with the murder once the gun was in his hand. And so that's how Keith Ellison sees this case differently, and he doesn't think a 2-year term at a juvenile prison is enough.
He's seeing this case as this is not the one to try out reform. This person had time to think about it, and she's saying we got to do things differently.
Exactly. And she is certifying some juveniles as adults in other cases, in particular the Mall of America murder that happened in late December. The one juvenile charged in that is being handled so far, certification continuing. But this case, this was the first one that she reversed course from what Mike Freeman was doing and wanted to handle this one differently.
And she did, and now it's not even in her hands anymore, right? Okay. Well, we'll check back in with you tomorrow, because this case is supposed to be in court.
Yeah, so the plea deal for the 15-year-old is supposed to take place first thing tomorrow morning, but Keith Ellison's team will show up there rather than Moriarty's team, and my expectation is that the judge will have to delay it and then sort it out later.